It has been a quiet week in Lake Wobegon. Florian and Myrtle Krebsbach left for Minneapolis on Tuesday. Long haul for them. They're no spring chickens, and it was cold and raining, and he hates to drive anyway. His eyesight is poor, and his 66 Chev has only 47,000 miles on it, just like new, and he's proud of it. But Myrtle had to go down for a checkup. She can't get one from Dr. DeHaven or the doctors in St. Cloud because she's had checkups from them recently, and they say she's all right. She's pretty sure she might have cancer. She reads questions and answers on cancer in the paper and has seen symptoms there that sound familiar. So when she found a lump on the back of her head last week and noticed blood on her toothbrush, she called a clinic in Minneapolis, made an appointment, and off they went. Florian put on his good car coat and a clean Pioneer seed corn cap. Myrtle wore a red dress so she would be safe in Minneapolis traffic. He got on Interstate 94 in Avon and headed south at 40 miles an hour, hugging the right side, she clutching her purse, peering out of her thick glasses, trucks blasting past them, both of them upset and scared, her about brain tumors, him about trucks. Normally, she narrates a car trip, reading billboards, pointing out interesting sights, but not now. When they got beyond the range of the Rise and Shine radio show, just as Bea and Bob were coming to the Swap and Shop feature, a show they've heard every morning for 30 years, they felt awful. And Florian said, "If it was up to me, I'd just as soon turn around and go home." It was the wrong thing to say, with her in the mood she was in, and she was expecting him to say it, and had worked up a speech in her mind in case he did. "Well, of course," she said. "I'm sure you would rather turn around. You don't care. You don't care one tiny bit, and you never have, so I'm not surprised that you don't now. You don't care if I live or die. You'd probably just as soon I died right now. That'd make you happy, wouldn't it? You'd just clap your hands if I died. Then you'd be free of me, wouldn't you? Then you'd be free to go off and do your dirty business, wouldn't you?" Florian, with his 66 Chev with 47,003 miles on it, would not strike most people as a candidate for playboyhood, but it made sense to her. 48 years of marriage, and she'd finally figured him out, the rascal. She wept. She blew her nose. He said, "I would too care if you died." She said, "Oh yeah, how much? You tell me." Florian isn't good at theoretical questions. After a couple minutes, she said, "Well, I guess that answers my question. The answer is you don't care a bit." It was his idea to stop at the truck stop. He thought coffee would calm him down, and they sat and drank a couple cups apiece, and then the pie looked good, so they had some, banana cream and lemon meringue, and more coffee. They sat by the window, not a word between them, watching the rain fall on the gas pumps. They stood up and went and got in the car, then he decided to use the men's room. While he was gone, she went to the ladies' room, and while she was gone, he got in behind the wheel, started up, checked the side mirror, and headed out on the freeway. Who knows how this sort of thing happens? He just didn't notice. His mind was on other things, and Florian is a man who thinks slowly, so he won't have to go back and think it over again. He was still thinking about how much he'd miss her if she was gone, how awful he would feel, how empty the house would be with him lying alone in bed at night, and all those times when you want to turn to someone and say, "You won't believe what happened to me," or "Did you read this story in the newspaper about the elk in Oregon?" or "Boy, Johnny Carson is looking old, ain't he? And Ed, too." And she wouldn't be there for him to point this out to. And he turned to tell her how much he'd miss her, and she wasn't there. The seat was empty. You could have knocked him over with a stick. He took his foot off the gas and coasted to a stop. He hadn't noticed her crawl into the back seat, but he looked and she wasn't there. She hadn't jumped. He would have noticed that, wouldn't he? It couldn't have been angels taking her away. He thought of the truck stop. He was a good ways from there, he knew that. He must have gone 20 miles. Then when he made a U-turn, he noticed he wasn't on the freeway anymore. There was no median strip. He was on a Highway 14, whatever that was. He drove a few miles and came to a town named Bolivia. He never knew there was a Bolivia, Minnesota, but there it was. Went into a Pure Oil station. An old man was reading a Donald Duck comic book. Florian asked, "How far to the interstate?" Man didn't look up from his comic. A pickup came in, the bell dinged, the old man kept reading. Florian went down the street into a cafe, Yaklich's Cafe, and asked the woman where the interstate was. She said, "Oh, that's nowheres around here." "Well, it must be," he said. "I was just on it. I just came from there." "Oh," she said, "that's a good 10 miles from here." "Which way?" "East, I think." "Which way's east?" "What way you come in?" "That way." "No, that way's northeast. You want to go that way and then a little southeast when you get to the Y in the road. Then keep to your left. It's about 2 miles the other side of that old barn with Red Man on the side. Red Man chewing tobacco. On your left. You'll see it." There was a funny look about her. Her eyes bulged, and her lips were purplish. Her directions weren't good either. He drove that way and never saw the barn, so he turned around and came back and looked for the barn on the right side, but no barn, so he headed back to Bolivia, but Bolivia wasn't there anymore. It was getting on toward noon.